Welcome back to the Tartan Geo YouTube channel. This is my Premier League and preview show. I am Geo and I am not Tartan, I am Scottish. It feels like the games are coming thick and fast in the Premier League, so much so that it feels like just yesterday we were watching Manchester City win at Anfield. And yes, if you're watching this on Tuesday, yes, I've recorded this on Monday. It's just a crap joke, okay? I'm out of jokes. I thought of a good intro, couldn't come up with one. That's the best I've got. But don't let that put you off. Stick around. Shall we just get into it? Let's move along. Chelsea hosting Leeds United at Stamford Bridge on Tuesday evening. Chelsea 4 Premier League wins in a row, winning 7 of 9 under Liam Messina. The 2 defeats coming to Arsenal, both times in the Carabao Cup semi-final. However, randomly, not won midweek in the Premier League so far this season out of 3 games, and they've lost 2 of 3 against promoted teams as well. I didn't see their game against Wolves. I've seen the highlights of it. Looked like a relatively straightforward win. An injured Cole Palmer scored a hat-trick, a couple of goals from the penalty spot, and that's what they need. They need to get him back to fitness first of all, but get him scoring, because they can go on and have what is a successful period under Messina, which is getting Champions League football. They can achieve that. They've had a really good start under him so far. Taking on Leeds United, just 2 defeats from their last 12 Premier League games. However, no wins in their last 9 aways in the Premier League. Only Burnley and Wolves have less points away from home than what Leeds United do in the Premier League. Huge win for them against Nottingham Forest. Just relaxing a little bit, because the alternative, Nottingham Forest winning, and they would be 3 points ahead of the relegation zone, was a grim possibility. But they batted Forest away. An important win. It felt like a huge win for them. And when you look at Leeds' fixtures post this tricky run they've got, it's difficult to see them not picking up enough points. I felt like that was a pivotal win for them. And it takes the pressure off this one. I think the next few Leeds games, because of how hard the fixtures are, anything's a little bit of a bonus. Even if they lose all 3, I think what comes after that is enough for them to go on and achieve survival. A difficult game for them, but I don't think, when I've seen Chelsea under Messina, I'm not convinced. I feel like they're a little bit shaky. I think he's getting a lot wrong. He's fixing it and he's amending it, which is good. But sooner or later, I think he's going to come unstuck. Interesting to see what he does with Leeds United at set pieces. We've seen what he's done against Arsenal. Is he going to do the same thing again? And the thing that I like about Leeds is they don't have to play well to contain a threat, because they're so good at set pieces, because they're so good at the long throws. In open play, they don't need to be good to create chances. Now, I appreciate no wins in 9 away games in the Premier League isn't good, and I don't think they're going to win, but I think they might get something. I'm going to go Chelsea 1, Leeds United 1. Now, before we move on to the Hill Dickinson Stadium, I got a prize. Got a prize for one of you people. This person, BKCB, congratulations. A very impressive 14 points. He's the winner of the predictions from the weekend fixtures. He correctly predicted Manchester United to beat Spurs. He had Arsenal to beat Sunderland 3-0 as well. He also correctly predicted 1-1 at the Vitality Stadium between Bournemouth and Villa. He had West Ham United winning. He had Chelsea winning 3-1. He also had Manchester City winning 3-2 at Anfield. So a massive 14 points. But again, I must say, a really good collection of predictions from the Tartan Geo subscribers over the weekend. People hitting 9, 10, 11 points. Some people getting 7 outcomes right, just lacking that correct score prediction. And they're not far away. There was a lot of people with 7 points, but predicting 2-all at Anfield, for example. So had they got that, when we would have put them on 10 points, which would have been a good return, but not enough to beat BK. That is a very impressive set of predictions. So BKCB, congratulations, and that was your prize. A shout out from a random Scotsman that chats nonsense on YouTube. That's me, by the way. There's no guest. It's me. I'm that person. Moving on to Everton hosting Bournemouth, 2 wins and 3 draws in the last 5 Premier League games for Everton now. However, not great at home. They started quite well at the Hill Dickinson Stadium, but recently not so much. Winning 2, drawing 2 and losing 4, picking up as much points in their last 8 games as they did, I think, in their first 4 games at their new ground. Bournemouth also unbeaten 5, winning 3 and drawn 2. They won 1 of 12 games against teams in the top 9. However, so when the Premier League fixtures get underway, those in the top 9, which Everton currently are, they've only won 1 of the 12 games this season. Beating Wolves at the weekend after 10 away games without a win away from home. So Bournemouth, not great travellers. Everton, not great at home, but both teams in decent form at the minute. I think Everton's win was a very impressive one at the weekend, going away to Fulham. Craven Cottage is a difficult place to go. That's a good win. And I think they should have ambitions of European football. And I make them one of the favourites to finish 7th or 8th. And like I said, next week I'll do my European race video. I'm looking forward to doing that because as much as I'm focused on the relegation battle, I do like discussing what's happening at the top of the Premier League as well. And I've not done one all season. But we're getting to the business end. When are we at the business end? Is it now? Is it after 30 games? I feel like if we're not in it, we're certainly approaching it. We're starting to get a lay of the land. Who's in trouble? Who's got hopes? And I think Everton, and to be fair, Bournemouth, after their recent run, they've been climbing the table. They've maybe got an outside chance. For this one, though, difficult to call. When that happens, go down the middle. Time to pull out my favourite prediction on this channel. Everton 1, Bournemouth 1. Time for you guys to get involved as well. In the description below and the pinned comments, I put a list of all 10 fixtures. Copy, paste, give me your predictions, and next week someone will be getting a shout out. Right, on to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Can both teams lose? Unfortunately, the answer is no, but if they could, this might be the game, as Spurs host Newcastle United. It's now 7 Premier League games without a win for Spurs, 3 defeats in that time. They've now got 1 point less than they did this stage last season. We all know how bad Spurs were last season, finishing 17th in the Premier League. They are 1 point worse off. Last season, at this stage, Postecoglou was focusing on the Europa League. It was a case of, we're not going to go down. We're not going to do anything in the league. So let's make sure we win the Europa League and get Champions League football. Tick. Well, can Thomas Frank say, I'm focusing on winning the Champions League? I don't think he can, because it's not realistic. It's not going to happen. Spurs winning Europa League was a realistic thing to do. It was a switch of plan, and it was the right thing, and it was achievable. Spurs haven't done that, and they can't do that. Romero now suspended for 4 games after getting sent off. Not won in the Premier League at home since early December, drawn 2 and losing 3 since then. Coming up against the Newcastle side, who have lost 6 of their 12 aways in the Premier League so far this season. Winning just 2, plus they've lost their last 3 games now, only 1 win in 8. It is not good, no matter how you look at this for Spurs or Newcastle. It's not good in regards to what their ambitions were pre-season. Eddie Howe saying that he's not doing a good enough job. Currently, I am inclined to agree. A difficult one. I wish Newcastle were last season's Newcastle, because I need Spurs to lose this game. They're 6 points above West Ham, and it's Spurs. Now, I don't think they'll get relegated, but it's just funny. I'm enjoying seeing Spurs where they are, and I would like to see them closer to the relegation zone. If I could pick a team to get relegated, it would be Spurs. I think most football fans would pick Spurs to go down if they could pick someone. I'm going to say 2-2 on this one, though. West Ham United, my team, host Manchester United. It's 4 wins in our last 5 in all competitions. Hey, we're in a little bit of form, West Ham. We're in a little bit of form. However, we've only won 1 of our last 16 home games against non-promoted teams. We've not won against a team starting the round of fixtures in the top 8 this season, drawn 2 and losing 7. Man United winning 4 under Michael Carrick, only 3 points behind Aston Villa, winning 4, drawn 4 and losing just once in their last 9 aways. I wish Ruben Amorim was still in charge. This is a fixture. Spurs away, Man U at home. That's the 2 fixtures I like to win every single season. The Tottenham one's a West Ham thing. The Man United one's a Geo thing. For anyone that doesn't follow me on Hammer's Chat, I grew up in Aberdeen. I was Aberdeenshire. I was born, and at school, me and my brother supported West Ham. Everyone else was Man U. There was one Liverpool fan, and that was at primary school. At the academy, most people were Man U. I started to weed out the real football fans. One of my best friends at high school was a Leeds United fan. Granted, Leeds were good when we were in primary school, Leeds United were good, and then we were in the academy, not so good. But yeah, we probably got on because of that, because we didn't support Man United or Liverpool. I think that's why we got on. And towards the end, the Chelsea things was starting to creep in. But that's why I have a dislike for Man U. I just dislike Man U as a football club anyway. Difficult game. Just wish it was Ruben Amorim. If it was, I'd fancy us to win. But I'm looking forward to it. I don't have fear of fixtures anymore. Saying that, we're playing Arsenal, might have a different tone. But we're not. We're playing Man U. Hopefully we can prevent that geezer getting a haircut. If Man U win, the United strand finally cuts his head off. It would be nice just to spoil the party. I'm going to say Manchester United 2, West Ham United 1. Moving on to Wednesday night's games as Aston Villa host Brighton. They're not in good form at the minute, the villains, are they? 1 win in their last 5, lost their last 2 at Villa Park after winning 8 in a row earlier on this season. Now they're still in there, they're still in the top 5, but they were in a title race. A few weeks ago, they were in a title race. Not anymore. And they're going to have to just keep an eye on what's going on behind them as well, with the form Man U's in, and the form that Liverpool are stringing together, and the form that Chelsea's in. They're just going to have to be a little bit careful, Villa, because they need to get Champions League football. It would be a massive failure if Villa do not get Champions League football. In top 5 is likely to be Champions League football, so they've got that benefit that there's an extra place. Currently, because of how good the English teams are doing in European football, they should have 5th as Champions League again. And that might become a regular feature in the Premier League for as long as that rule remains. I'd imagine they're going to change it at some point in the future, because I think England will keep taking a place and it'll be a case of, well, let's stop this. It's not very fun. But for now, it's there. Coming up against the Brighton team, they've only beaten Burnley since November. Last 2.5 months of football, Burnley is the only game they've won. Drawn 5 and losing 6 in that time as well as a victory. 1 win in away from home in 11 Premier League games. No matter how you cut and slice it, Brighton are not good. I mean, I knew they weren't doing well. But I have to be honest with you, I don't always look at the league table. I don't know why. I feel like I should. But I probably should pay more attention to it. But I got a surprise on Sunday when Crystal Palace beat Brighton. The league table come up and Palace were above Brighton. I was like, hang on a minute, where Brighton appeared from? And it makes sense. They're in terrible form. But I don't know, I just thought they had a bit more points on the board. I thought they were a little bit higher up the league than that. Because coming into this, the weekend fixtures has just occurred. Palace were like outsiders, and they were big outsiders. They were outsiders for relegation. Well, Brighton are now below them. They just appeared from nowhere in the bottom half of the table for me. I appreciate for a lot of you, you'd be like, well, yeah, because maybe you pay more attention than I do. Don't know why I don't. I need to start doing that more. I will from now on. I think Villa will get back to winning ways here. So I'm going to go Aston Villa 2, Brighton 1. I think they've had some harsh results. While the results haven't been great, I think there's been a couple of harsh ones in there. I think they maybe deserve to win a couple more games than they actually have. But Brighton are just poor. Hurslow's under pressure, and it just feels like the end is near for him at the Amex Stadium. Moving on to Selhurst Park, Crystal Palace hosting Burnley, a massive win for them at the weekend, and if they could pick a fixture to have after beating Brighton, it's probably Burnley at home, and it should be Burnley at home as well. Beating Burnley after 12 without a win, 8 without a win at Selhurst Park, however, drawn 4 and losing 4 of those. Coming up against Burnley, now 16 without a win in the Premier League, losing 11 of those games. And if they fail to win at Selhurst Park, they will equal the club record of 17 top-flight games without a victory. And that record was set in 1889-90. The boos are for Burnley, the boos are for the board, the boos are for Scott Parker. Burnley fans aren't enjoying it. Burnley players look like they've given up. Coming up against the Crystal Palace team, and you could see how much that win meant to some of those players. Lacroix, Henderson, they were celebrating big time in front of their away fans because that was a big result. When you go 12 without a win, it's pressure, it's miserable. You just want to get that win no matter how, who, where. And if you could pick a fixture as a Palace fan, it's probably Brighton away. Just like for us, when we'd gone 10-11 in the league without a win, we went away to Spurs. We could pick a fixture to win. It was Spurs away. Palace have got their win now. I think they'll make it back-to-back wins. Sarr being back is huge. So I'm going to add in an extra prediction. I'm going to say 2-0 Crystal Palace, and Sarr scores. I thought Larsson looked good, by the way, against Brighton. Maybe that's my prediction. 2-0 Palace, Sarr and Larsson to score. Manchester City hosting Fulham, 4 wins from 5 now for Manchester City with that late drama at Anfield and a big win in the 85th minute. The live Premier League table, although I don't pay attention to it, Arsenal were 9 points clear of Manchester City, but that was a huge win for them. Winning Anfield isn't something Manchester City do too much, so that was a big win. And all they're doing is keeping the pressure on Arsenal, but that's all they can do. Win their games, keep the pressure on, and if they slip up, make sure they pounce. 10 unbeaten at the Etihad, winning 8 of those, and the defeat on the 11th game was against Leverkusen in the Champions League. Fulham have lost 3 of their last 4 after 6 without a defeat, winning 4 of those. I'm telling you, the Premier League this season just feels streaky. I mentioned a couple of weeks ago, no one agreed, no one disagreed. Everyone just ignored me, which is fine. I'm used to it. Unless I get a statistic slightly wrong, then you'll notice, eh? I don't mind that. Keep me on my toes. Correct me. It's important. It's important. But for Fulham, I just feel like the Premier League's streaky this season. That teams are going 10 without a win, then winning, then going 6 unbeaten, and vice versa and stuff. But Fulham are in bad form at the minute, losing 3. They won the game they didn't lose, though. I will give them that one. However, Manchester City have won their last 19 head-to-heads. Now, normally I don't pay attention to head-to-heads. I think the data's too unreliable. We're going back to like when Pep Guardiola was playing for Barcelona, probably the 20th game ago. It was back at like 2010 or something like that. I don't pay too much attention to it. However, my duty here is to provide you with facts and information as well as opinions. So there you go. Also, this game finished 5-4 Manchester City at Craven Cottage, but City were 5-1 up and cruising at one point. It was just an incredible second half for Fulham. I think City will win. Haaland getting that goal, and you could see how much it meant to him getting that goal at Anfield as well. I'm going to say Manchester City 3, Fulham 1. Nottingham Forest with an important game as they host. Hang on a minute. I've wrote Man City Fulham, Nottingham Forest Fulham. Nottingham Forest aren't playing Fulham. Nottingham Forest are playing Wolves. Why have I written Fulham down twice? Anyway, Nottingham Forest. I'm not editing it. It's staying in. Nottingham Forest host Wolves at the City Ground. And an important game coming up for Forest. Only 3 points ahead of my team who sit in the relegation zone. Got beat by Leeds United. A disappointing performance and a disappointing loss. But they were 4 unbeaten prior to that. And in those unbeaten games, there were some difficult fixtures in there, including Arsenal. 4 without a win at the City Ground. Coming up against Fulham now. No, not Fulham. Coming up against... look what happens. Coming up against Wolves. I don't even know if my notes are reliable now. Yeah, no, they're fine. Lost 3 in a row. What have I written here? 3 in a row. Lost 3 in a row. And 3, I can't read my own writing. Points! I botched this. I'm leaving it in. Shall we do this bit again? Right, coming up against Wolves. Who've now lost 3 in a row, and they've only got 3 points in the last 14 aways. Only 8 points so far, so they could still actually beat Derby County's record. They're hitting their own records now. Like, this is the worst team's ever been at this stage of a Premier League season. So the Derby County team, who finished the season 11 points, had more points on board than Wolves currently do after 25 points. Anyway, after butchering all that, I'm going to say Nottingham Forest 1, Wolves 0. Moving on to Stadium of Light as Sunderland unbeaten at home in 12 matches come up against Liverpool. However, they've only won 2 of their last 9 Premier League games. Liverpool winning 2 and losing 2 after 13 without a loss. 4 points off Chelsea. Chelsea are 5th in the Premier League. Again, I know quite a lot about the league table for someone that didn't pay attention to it. Liverpool are 6th, but they're 4 points off them. Equal points with Brentford. So this is an important game for Liverpool, and they're going to have to do it without their best player, in my opinion, in Szoboszlai, who's suspended after that red card at Anfield. And you know something, there's been a lot made out about it. I made my feelings clear in the video yesterday. But I think what we've overlooked a lot here is because of the whole should have been disallowed, should have not. I think what we've missed is it's just stupid by Szoboszlai What are you doing? Why are you pulling them? Just let the goal go in. You're losing the game anyway. So now Liverpool are without Szoboszlai for this one. I can't go against Sunderland at the Stadium of Light. Unbeaten at home, and they've played Arsenal there. I'm going to say Sunderland won, Liverpool won. Xhaka's a miss. Xhaka is a miss, though. But I think they made life difficult for Arsenal at the Emirates. Then they finally got their breakthrough, and it was a good goal by Zubimendi. But certainly Arsenal looked like they didn't have it all their way. Could be a good game, this one. And then moving on to Thursday night as Brentford host Arsenal. Brentford just 2 defeats at home all season, 12 Premier League games, winning 7 of those as well. And in their last couple of games, they've won away to Aston Villa and won away to Newcastle United. They are having an impressive season. However, they are not very good. They don't really like London derbies, unlike Arsenal, who have lost just one of their last 20 London derbies, winning 14 of those. 1 loss in 17 for Arsenal. They're just a different beast, aren't they? I've closed the book. I don't know my score prediction. That was stupid, weren't it? 3-1. Arsenal might feel... At one point, they just sat there watching Villa drop points, thinking, Liverpool are going to win here. Brilliant. We're on. 9 points clear. They'll just keep doing their business. They are a bloody good team. It's impossible to go against... Well, it's not. You can go against Arsenal if you wish. But it's impossible for me. I just admire them a lot. And I hate how good they are. And I hate how many good players they have. And the squad depth that they have there. Jesus up front not doing it. Okay, off here comes Gyökeres, goes on. They've got... Their second team would walk into most teams in the Premier League. That's how good this Arsenal team are. And I think they've... Their biggest challenge, Arsenal's biggest challenge for the remainder of the season, and it still is, but it has been for a while now, is their mentality. The only team that can stop Arsenal winning the Premier League is Arsenal. And they keep getting tricky test. Passing. They're doing it. They're in the Carabao Cup final as well. Again, another mentality block that they had to overcome. Last year they got to the semi-finals, got dispatched easily. This year, semi-finals, Chelsea, put them out no problem, into the cup final. This could be a special year for Arsenal. I dislike it, but we've got to speak the truth in these videos. Anyway, thank you very much for joining me. Thank you for sticking with me, especially after that howler at the City ground. Give me your predictions in the comments below. If you've enjoyed this preview, please do drop a like on it by clicking the thumbs up button. Sky me, Tartan Geo. I'll catch up with you tomorrow. There's a topic I want to discuss tomorrow. If you're an Aston Villa fan, you might enjoy it. If you're a Liverpool fan, you probably won't enjoy it. You can probably guess where I'm going with this one. I'll catch up with you tomorrow.